Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. Your host, JP John Poz. With me today, very special guest, former UWN television champion, former NWA World Tag Team Champion, Mr. Royce Isaacs. Royce, welcome in. How you doing?
Hey, I'm great, man. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being flexible with your schedule. I know we had a last second reschedule on my part. I had to actually get my physical done for DC next week, and I had gotten the blood work and I hadn't gotten the physical, and realized I was like, I need to do this
Oh,
before I ruin my own career in grudge match. Just
yes.
via not getting the necessary paperwork. So I'm all good, man. Physical turned out fine. So, hey, I guess they're going to let me wrestle another day then.
Yes, so you'll be wrestling more for New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's the plan. That's where my bread is buttered.
Now, as far as what's going on right now, are you primarily signed to New Japan, or is it just New Japan Strong, or can you wrestle kind of anywhere you want?
No, I'm a free agent. I can wrestle wherever I want. That's just I guess kind of like the main biggest place that I'm wrestling out of right now. But obviously it would be lovely to be signed somewhere, make a little more scratch. But it has been really cool getting to pop up wherever I want especially over the last year or so. I've gotten to do some pretty cool stuff. So, there are advantages to being a free agent at times.
Oh yeah, opens you up for some blood sport whenever that pops up, right? I mean, you can just kind of do some GCW, which is awesome. I think that's so cool that you're able to be a part of that. Just a very innovative, different style.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things is like no matter where I went, I would hope that they would be open to me working with Bloodsport more because that's one of the main places I feel like has really. I started working there at Bloodsport 4 and 5, which was we didn't even have. There was no audience for those tapings even, and there was a really strict policy on everything. And since then, I feel like Bloodsport's grown, and I've grown in the Bloodsport territory. So it's been an integral part of my career, and I think what's really set me off. So hopefully, no matter what, I would like to continue to rock with that brand and continue to grow with Bloodsport.
How did you get introduced to Bloodsport? Is that something like Barnett's recruiting you, or like how does that go? How does that come about?
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way: Barnett is always recruiting. He's always looking for new and different people, and I mean, some of the people that he's had in the works before and had little things here and there. Like he's always out there scouting for talent. I met him at the GCW Suburban Fight Show that happened in LA, maybe in 2019 or something like that. And we just got to talking after my match a little bit, and he found out about my amateur background, wrestling and everything like that. And a little bit after that, we trained together, and then slowly started training more and more. And I mean, like to the point where towards the end of the pandemic, when things had loosened up a bit, but like I still wasn't really able to wrestle quite that much. I was down there at California MMA is the name of the place that he trains out of quite a bit, and I was there, damn near every day, and doing kind of like fight camps with some other. There were some other wrestlers, including guys like Alex Coughlin, who obviously he's retired now, but at the time was going strong with New Japan. And we'd all be in there, beating the crap out of each other, sparring, grappling, all kinds of stuff, and really, really fun times, really great times. And I still get down to Recode Fitness every once in a while. Me, Josh, this guy Angel Verduzco, who's a catch wrestling world champion, the owner Eric Hammer. We all have wrestling backgrounds, and we do a catch wrestling style and stuff like that. So it's been really cool to kind of to grow with that. Anyways, to get back to the subject, yes, I met Barnett at a show, and we trained together a few times, and that's when he kind of saw the potential with me for Bloodsport.
Man, I feel like it just keeps growing and growing because not only you get WWE personnel watching it behind the scenes and showing up to the show, then you actually got WWE guys on the show. So I mean, you fought Charlie Dempsey. What was that whole experience like? Because it's different to have WWE guys at the show, but now they're on the actual show. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was huge. Starting with the WrestleMania, Bloodsport having so many WWE talent on it, and then a lot of talent backstage as well as higher ups and such from WWE was a very cool experience. And then on this last Bloodsport in Brooklyn, obviously I actually got to get in the ring with the WWE talent, which that is like a big vote of confidence. Like they're not going to just send their own people out there to work with whatever indie dummy. So that was definitely a compliment, and to me, it was a maybe my biggest accomplishment in wrestling. I was able to tap, a contracted WWE wrestler, and there's only one first, and I was the first Bloodsport wrestler to beat a WWE talent. So that's a big feather in my cap, and that's something that I'll always have on my resume. And so I definitely have to give thanks to them for even if they wanted to, even a year ago, they're not really letting talent out there to be put in these kind of situations. So props to them for putting their talent in these kind of situations that I think are beneficial to everyone involved. And it put me in a position to, accomplish one of the biggest things in my career. So.
Were you shocked that you were going over there? You know what I mean? Because usually WWE guys, they're not losing too often on these shows.
Quick aside, I can't talk about shocked to be going over in Bloodsport format. Josh will rip my head off.
Oh, okay. Well,
so all right, we can talk about it if you want, but maybe we like edit it and do it in a different.
Yeah. We could. I was just surprised that you won just because of it's a WB guy. You know what I mean? But hey, that happens, right? I mean, it's out there. You're in Bloodsport.
Brother, off the record, I was shocked too.
I love that Josh is treating it like a shoot. I love that.
Absolutely.
With Bloodsport and obviously WB, is there going to be more with WB involvement? Because you had the Creed brothers, Shayna Baszler. Is there going to be more involvement?
I have to imagine that this is only the tip of the iceberg. It seems like the events are going really well, and it's not like I'm talking to anyone directly, but all the feedback that I've kind of heard secondhand seems to be that they're very happy with the direction of the shows, and I think it's a good thing for all parties involved. So I have to think that there will continue to be more WWE involvement there, which is exciting. It's really exciting. I am looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting in the ring with more WWE talent. I know this is a long shot, and who knows if they would let him get out and about for these kind of things, but that old Chad Gable, I think, would be a hell of a Bloodsport competitor. I'd love to take him on. So, that's I don't do the Conor McGregor style call outs. It's my humbly throwing my hat in the ring. If he's interested in the style, I would love to welcome him to it.
I love that. Were you surprised you got picked to fight Charlie Dempsey at all? Was that a surprise?
If I say no, it sounds cocky, but I do think that you want someone. I'm confident in my abilities. I know what I can do in the ring, on the mats, wherever, and I do think it's a big vote of confidence that they would allow a talent of theirs to be in the ring with someone like myself. But I guess no, I'm not surprised.
When you look at Bloodsport and just the history of it, your lineup, if you will, or guys that you've had the chance to fight, pretty awesome. I mean, Minoru Suzuki. I mean, it's a who's who there.
Yeah, I've had some really. I think everyone that I've faced has been a really awesome competitor in their own way. Having someone like Suzuki, who's a legend, obviously was a big matchup. Wrestling someone like Johnny TV, John Morrison, whatever, what have you. That was a big high-profile match that kind of helped raise my stock. But if you look through my whole history, like one of my first matches was Alex Coughlin, who I think when he was still in the sport was one of the most underrated and one of the best wrestlers around. I think he was really, really talented. And the sport of wrestling is worse for not having him anymore, and I think we all miss him. And you have someone like I wrestled Bad Dude Tito at one of the Bloodsports, and I think at the time we were both at like kind of slightly younger stages of our career where we were starting to kind of bubble. And then now you look back on that, if you watch that match back, you see it, you're like, wow, okay, I see why these are the guys that are kind of like the next stars of Bloodsport and the next stars with New Japan and whatnot, because Tito's as talented as anyone out there.
When you look at that too, it's like you're kind of growing, but they keep bringing you back for Bloodsport. Barnett must love what he's seeing at it. You know what I mean? Like and it's more high profile opponents each time, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, Bloodsport, I think, is one of those places where win, lose, or draw, you can leave the match with a higher profile if you leave it all on the line and you have the skills to pay the bills, so to say. All I can say is he's seen me in training, he's seen me, in sparring, he's seen me, out there at Bloodsport, and so obviously, that says something that I'm passing the litmus test there, because I keep getting bigger and bigger opportunities, and can't wait to see what's next, because I'm sure it's going to be more of the same, more big opportunities, and I just have to. My biggest thing is, continue to work hard, continue to keep myself healthy, and that way I can just keep knocking these opportunities out of the park and hopefully get bigger and bigger opportunities, because it does make a big difference for someone like me. It does make a big difference in my career. I do notice when I get these kind of opportunities, it has had an impact on my career and my life.
What do you think about the success of Bloodsport? Is that something that you were surprised to see, or did you expect to see? Because it does seem like it has like a big cult following now, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because I think it's so different. There's such a market for something like that. A lot of wrestling companies are doing content that, whether it's good, whether it's performed well, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whatever you want to say about it, is very similar. I would say it's the same style of wrestling. And that's not a knock on anyone. I just think that that's like the mainstream style of wrestling is most of what you see. And then Bloodsport actually legitimately occupies its own space that's very different. And I do think there's a major market for it. Like there's people that really like MMA, but they maybe aren't as down with just a typical TV wrestling match. But Bloodsport might be appealing to them. There's people that are fans of the old UWFI style, and they may not like current mainstream wrestling. Bloodsport might scratch that itch. There's jiu-jitsu fans that might like it. If you're a college wrestling fan and you see the Creed brothers performing, or I was a Division III wrestler. Morrison, Johnny TV was a Division I wrestler. Like, we have lots of amateur wrestlers that it's like, oh yeah, I remember when I used to be hitting blast doubles in high school or college or whatever. So I feel like it's its own niche kind of thing, but also there's plenty of room to grow in terms of it's niche, but there's also somewhat of a wide net. And I think it's scratching an itch that like no one else. I think there's other people that try to do the same kind of format or style, but no one really nails it or knocks it out of the park quite like Josh does with Bloodsport. And I mean, personally, I'd like to see it hopefully continue to grow and expand. I would love to see eventually one day if it was like kind of like how UWFI or early Pancrase used to do, where there's weekly or multiple times a week events, and it's like its own league where it's like a big thing that people can really just wrestle that style if they want to or and whatnot. But also that's just me having a little pipe dream that there would have to be a lot of things that would change to have that happen. But I think Josh has a great vision, and he's really has his finger on the pulse of the kind of surprises and matchup styles that make Bloodsport special. And when you watch a Bloodsport event, if you're a fan of that style at all, if you even have an inkling of liking that kind of style, you'll know like, oh, this is what's up. Like Bloodsport is special.
Very cool. You never know who's going to show up. Nick Khan might show up backstage. MVP might show up to challenge Barnett. You literally have no idea, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, I mean, you have all kinds of crazy stuff. Like even just at the last one, um, the Mike Bailey head kick KO was a pretty crazy moment. Like if you watch that back, that got clipped to hell. That was, I mean, that was a crazy clip. Yeah, like you said, you have MVP just kind of showing up. You have, something like Homicide versus Santana in New York, which is where you'd want to do something like that. And it's two people that they did Bloodsport great, but they're not people that you'd necessarily expect. Oh yeah, of course, Santana and Homicide would be on that, but they do it. They do it in their backyard and they kill it. Like that's wonderful.
So cool. A buddy of mine went to that show because he's obviously huge into UWFI back in the day, but he was
Yeah,
so into it that he had to go to the show. So I was like, wow, they're onto something. They're getting just random fans that just want to go to New York City or want to go wherever Bloodsport is.
yeah, absolutely. That's the thing is, yeah, Bloodsport is a draw. Like people, there is an itch it's scratching that people into. I'm excited to see it continue to grow.
Can you take Barnett? I mean, you've sparred with him. Can you take Barnett?
Take him where? Take him to dinner or something like that. Take him for a nice friendly hangout. Um, yeah, Josh is he's miserable to spar with, to roll with. It's like you're fighting a bear, kind of like a grizzly bear, because he's about the same size, except for if a grizzly bear knew how to do a double wrist lock. I will say being under him in side control is like one of the most miserable. Like you just feel like your ribs are cracking. Like it's just a terrible experience. Um, but I keep improving every day, and one of these days it'll be my time, and he's not going to know what hit him. But until then, I'm just hoping that maybe he gets afflicted with a bunch of ailments, and I'll jump on his back and catch a lucky choke or something like that.
Yes. Anybody else you want to face in Bloodsport? I know you mentioned Chad Gable. Anybody else on the radar though that could possibly happen?
I mean, I think my number one dream match, I think he'd be perfect for the style, would be Katsuyori Shibata. Love to see him at Bloodsport. He's someone that I've trained with a little bit, a few times at the LA dojo. Although I was not like a dojo guy or anything, or lion or anything, but I did train with him a bit, and he's someone that I really always loved his style and respected his style and kind of things that he does in the ring. He's one of the guys that when I was getting back into wrestling, really, really, him and Dolph Ziggler were two guys that I just was like, wow, these guys are pro wrestling to me. They're the epitome of it. So it would be a huge honor. I don't know. He seems like he would be a perfect fit for Bloodsport, but he has not participated yet, to my knowledge, and I would that would be a dream match for me, and it would be a dream match for me in any format, but especially I think Bloodsport. Obviously there's the concern for his medical history and everything like that. If we had to have some kind of special rules, like maybe head strikes or something like that, I'm totally fine with that. Or if it was some kind of like an exhibition bout or something, whatever. But to me, that would just mean a lot. So I would like to see that happen. And you never know. It is we are living in the kind of forbidden door era where there are these open doors that we can walk through. So I would love to see Shibata at Bloodsport.
That would be a perfect guy. Yes, that would be awesome. Maybe bring in Sakuraba. I don't know if Sakuraba has done it before. Bring him in. That'd be pretty awesome as well.
He was on the Bloodsport Bushido in Japan. Him and I'm gonna butcher. I can't remember his new name, but Santino Marella, FKA Santino Marella.
Oh,
They had a
that's right.
phenomenal
That's right.
shoot match. Yeah,
Yep.
Bloodsport match. Excuse me. Um, they killed it that night. So I would love to see more Sakuraba and Bloodsport. I think obviously he's he's great for Bloods. It would just be a matter of, I don't know if Josh is planning to do more events in Japan. Obviously, that'd be a little bit easier over there. I mean, people would love to see soccer in the U.S. too. So that, I don't know if he has interest in coming over to the U.S., but I think that would be a huge pickup for Bloodsport in the USA.
Totally, totally good. That'd be awesome. Were you a big UWF fan back in the day? Like, did you watch UWFI and stuff?
As a kid, I didn't know anything existed outside of WWE, but as an adult, I've now gone back and watched it a bit. Of course, I love it. It's awesome. I think it's a shame that there isn't more. Like it's cool when I see someone like 𝐬𝐿𝐃 doing some UWFI stuff in Japan currently. I think that's really awesome. But like no, as a kid, I only knew about WWE or WWF at the time, and I knew about WCW. I didn't even know that they were like independents in the United States or anything like that until, gosh, probably 2014 or something. I had no idea. I just thought you have WWF, WCW, and then I watched some ECW, and I knew like Ring of Honor existed. To me, that was like the only indie. I just thought there was Ring of Honor was the only option.
Do you like 𝐃𝐄𝐑 when you watch some of that stuff? Some of 𝐃𝐄𝐑 stuff, or 𝐃𝐄𝐑 Vader, some of the UWFI stuff, just awesome stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I do. If I don't do the full set matching gear, but if I ever did, I'd probably do like an all purple like him because I do think that always looked slick. And yeah, he was the best at that style. He was the man.
So cool. Now, you mentioned Forbidden Door being open and stuff. Any, I know you've worked for AEW before, but any sort of idea or any maybe goal to get back to AEW, or are you just you're kind of happy where you are? Is that somewhere you want to work?
Of course. No, of course. Excuse me. Sorry. Sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. I think AEW always. I've worked for them a few times. It's always been, they've taken really good care of me, and I've gotten some really cool matches there. And especially with the kind of crossover Forbidden Door season, it was cool to Jarrell and I wrestled Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty in kind of the build up to Forbidden Door. But after the previous Forbidden Door to that, when Filthy Tom and I kind of invaded, and then Adam Cole got sick, so we never really got the payoff of actually participating. Yeah, I would like to actually be a part of a Forbidden Door and be on the show. I think that would be huge. There's a lot of different, tag teams that they have a phenomenal tag division, and there's plenty of people I'd like to, square up with there. Or I do quite a few singles bookings, so obviously something like that would be really rad. But yeah, that Forbidden Door is great. I think that's great for the business, and of course I'd love to be part of it. But also it's quite the exclusive card, quite the exclusive club, so I get it.
Oh yeah, usually does really well, which is great because obviously there's super interest with New Japan and AEW. Kind of one of those things where, like you said, there is only a certain amount of spots, right? I mean, it's not like anybody's going to be in the card. There's only a certain amount of spots.
Yeah, I think it's a thing where at the end of the day, it just means that in some circumstances I need to, take care of business in terms of whether it's a, strong open weight tag title or the strong open weight championship or the IWGP tag. Like if I can put myself, or if we can put ourselves in a situation where we have titles, then okay, maybe we can kind of nudge our way onto the card in some way. But it is what it is. Circumstances are what they are, so we just have to keep our head pointed on straight forward and keep working hard and worry about if we get an opportunity at a title, we hold on to that sucker as close as we can and make that reign as impressive as possible and call our shot with someone at AEW and make it happen.
When you did wrestle you and Jarrell against Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, is AEW calling you to wrestle, or was that something that New Japan set up that match for you guys?
Yeah, no, AEW hit us up about that. But sometimes The previous time when it was Tom and myself, New Japan actually that one. So it just depends.
What do you think about the AEW style? Because obviously it's a bit different than New Japan. Although a lot of New Japan guys go over there and have success, but it is a little bit different, a little bit more high flying. It's just I don't know, just different style. What do you think about that style, or do you think that's good to be completely different?
No, I think having a little bit of difference is definitely important. Like I said, like otherwise things do get too homogenized if everyone's just doing the same thing. It's like if everyone made the same burger, would there be any point in having multiple spots to eat at? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's good. I think one of the things AEW needs to do is kind of carve out their own spot in the biz, and one of the ways you do that is by having a different style, like a specific style that people can look at and point to and go, "That's the AEW style." So no, I think it's great. Um, you know, my style is my style, but like I also think that kind of just do my own thing. Like I don't think I wrestle. The style that I wrestle is a New Japanish style, but I think it can kind of adapt to anything, and two, it, it's good for anywhere. Having a good mat-based technician with power moves and stuff like that, that's you can translate that to any style, any language, any promotion.
Absolutely. Is that your background though? D3 wrestler? Do you do have like a submission background too, or it's strictly wrestling, catch wrestling?
Well, catch wrestling has submissions in it, but yeah, I was a college wrestler. I played football in college as well, and I didn't amateur wrestle much for a few years after college, and then I started getting back into training and training catch and jujitsu and whatnot. And I would say over the past 4 to 5 years, taking it a little bit more seriously and training more consistently. And now, I mean, I'm pretty confident in my skills now. I still would like to get more striking experience as well. I did do a training camp. Actually, I guess I don't know if this is like super known, but I was like the main sparring partner for Morrison's boxing match before his match with. He had that boxing match with Harley from Epic Mealtime, knocked him out
Yeah.
or whatever. That was me and Morrison were in there beating the shit out of each other for months. Uh, in the small, it was in this gym that was like they had like a matted area that was like maybe I don't even know, like 6 by 6. It was so small. We're just throwing bombs, killing each other. But he said it prepared him good because he said he took the first punch in the fight and he goes, "Oh, all right, this won't be as bad as sparring with Royce." So, um, yeah, I love combat sports. I love watching combat sports. I love participating. It's tough at times with how physical pro wrestling is. I get dinged up all over, and it's like pro wrestling has to be my main priority because I actually make money with it versus like jujitsu and catch and whatnot. If I have my shoulders messed up, I have to make sure it's good for the weekend. If I have matches and whatnot, that's how I'm paying the bills and all. So I don't get to train as much as I would like to, and that's one of the main things when I do make more money, as I'd like to spend more of it on recovery stuff and more training and opening up my schedule more to training. Yeah, it's one of like my passions of life.
Love that. I thought that was might have been a little bit of a work. I guess not. It's a shoot those boxing matches.
Oh no, it was yes. At least I don't know about the other people's matches, but I know John. If it was a work, then he did it the dumbest way because we killed each other's brain cells for months in a small gymnasium, just boxing each other's ears off. Um, no, I think probably I'm sure there's some of those celebrity boxing leagues that are a work or whatever, but his is he really knocked out the dude from Epic Mealtime.
That's great. Obviously, he's a bit of a shooter because of Bloodsport, but he's a bit of a shooter anyway. It seems like.
Yeah, he wrestled. I want to say like UC Davis or something like that, which is D1 for like a year or two, and he rolls. He's come in to train with me before at some a grappling establishment that I go to nearby, and we actually train a bit here and there, and sometimes we'll do like a more of a flow roll, and then sometimes we'll do more of a right, let's catch a submission and crank it and try to kill each other roll as well. So, John's the real deal for sure.
Going back to New Japan, like originally, how'd you kind of get in and get your foot in? Is it because of like being out there in the West Coast and Strong, obviously, kind of building a base out there, or how did you kind of get into New Japan?
Definitely being out here with Strong, or being on the West Coast and Strong being on the West Coast helped a lot. That's another thing that Bloodsport helped out with, because Rocky was on the Bloodsport 4 and 5 card. So him getting to actually see my work. I've been trying to get on for a little bit before that. But yeah, I think kind of having standout performances there really helped me get on, and just being consistent with all that helped me kind of get into that New Japan sphere, and got an opportunity and just kept running with it and trying to kill it as best as I could.
What do you think about that style? Because it seems to fit you, obviously, with Bloodsport and stuff, but a little bit more snug, a little bit more stiff. Do you love the New Japan style? Do you prefer the New Japan style?
Yeah, I do. I do. That's when I kind of discovered Japanese wrestling. I was like, oh wow, this is what connects with me. This is the kind of presentation that I like for wrestling. Um, so yeah, I like New Japan style. I like basically any like modern Japanese wrestling style. If you go back to like the '90s, All Japan and Noah style and all that, it's like, yeah, that speaks to me. Big match feel, big sports presentation, and I think some of the best matches of all time have come out of that.
Oh, big time, big time. Easily some of the best. I feel like New Japan, I don't know, maybe they're in a little bit of a weird period right now, just because AEW took Okada. I mean, Osprey. It just seems like a little bit of a transition, maybe. Like now Zack Sabre is getting a big push, right? It seems like there's definitely a lot of things changing in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably right in assessing like a bit of a transitional period, I would say. I think they're kind of, trying to figure out what the next move might be. Um, but that can be a good thing too. It just means that you have to put the correct next people in their respective spots to win. I think Zack Sabre Jr. winning the G1 is, a really good big next, because he's someone that's been, you know, it, even whatever 10 years ago, he was one of the best wrestlers in the world. So to kind of finally, I feel like, get that recognition, I think is huge for him. And I'm interested to see how things play out for him, what's next for him, and where he goes from there. Because I think when you have the kind of talent that he has, you know, the sky's the limit. I could see. I I don't think there's anything in the wrestling business that someone as talented as Zack Sabre Jr. Couldn't accomplish. And actually, going back to our earlier discussion, Zack Sabre Jr. should be on Bloodsport. Like that, he would be a phenomenal fit for Bloodsport.
Totally agree. The best technician in the game. Yeah, he could definitely be a good fit for sure. With New Japan, what do you want to like accomplish there? What do you like? What's some goals for New Japan Pro Wrestling coming up? And obviously, you got shows coming up too.
I mean, I think the most obvious one. Been chasing the strong openweight tag championships for quite some time. IWGP tag championships, and in all honesty, I have to dream big, because I always have wanted to participate in and win a G1. I want to win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Like, if I wasn't here for the top prize, I wouldn't be here at all. That's always the goal, and so I know that that's something that's quite a bit away from me. But like that is where my eyes are. That's where my heart's at. That's where my head's at. And that's I I don't work as hard as I do just to like win a secondary prize or this, that, whatever. It's like I want to climb the ranks. I want to get to the next thing. And IWGP Heavyweight Championship is kind of the ultimate goal because to me that's the number one prize.
Absolutely. And of course, like working there more, you should be like wanting to work in Japan more, like you mentioned, and being part of the G1. That would be huge, being part of that tournament. Because, man, this year it seems like maybe people slept on it, but there was some gems in there, some classics in that tournament this year.
I'll put it this way: the G1 is the best tournament in wrestling, hands down. Always, and it always has been, and I think it always will be, and that's for a reason. So people can sleep, but it takes some time. And I know like New Japan, like we said, is in a transitional period and they're reloading, but it's still the G1, it's still New Japan, and I think if anything, some other people moving on, getting signed elsewhere, it makes way for some new stars to come, and so I think that just means it's going to be a better product in the end because you do need to get some fresh faces.
It always seems to work out well for New Japan. Hopefully it does this time. But remember, they had AJ, he's gone. Nakamura, he's gone. Then they makes room for Omega. Omega leaves, made room for Ospreay. Like it just kept like now Zack Sabre or even Jay White before that, but then Zack Sabre. So
Sure.
It's like, yeah, they always retool. They seem like they can always retool and add some good talent, and they've got it over there.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
With you, I of course know you from NWA as well, a former NWA tag team champ. Is it just that they're usually East Coast, you're West Coast guy? It's one of those things where not really, going to be back with NWA or no interest really in NWA because you were a big part of them for a while.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I would never say never in terms of going back, and I know like I still have fans that hit me up about it. Like they have a very loyal, rabid fan base, and I really appreciate them. So I definitely would never say never. I just think it would be the problem is it would have to be a situation that makes sense for all parties. So it'd have to be something where it was, it had something really, I guess, that made sense for me and financially made sense for me and that I was happy with. And obviously, same thing on their end where they think that there's a big benefit that they could get out of it, and it would help out both sides. I don't know. Like I said, I'd never say never, but it doesn't seem like something that like. I'll put it this way: I asked for my release, I got my release, and they seemed perfectly happy with that. So it seems like all parties moved on and are fine with that. But hey, I'm a freelancer, so if they have some ideas, my line's always open.
Any WWE interest at all? I know they've kind of changed their tune just as far as stylistically and things like that. Interest there?
There's been here and there interest over the past few years, but it kind of, I don't know, they're mysterious with their ways, so I can never really tell. And then nothing that I've heard recently. At the end of last year, there was a little bit of interest, and then it kind of seemed to, for whatever reason or another, fizzle out. But that could change tomorrow, for all I know. And I mean, it was at least a vote of confidence that they put me in there with one of their guys, so I know that means something. So I know there are some kind of eyes on me. But hey, if they're interested, holler at me. My phone line is open, baby.
Hey, and you get the win over Charlie Dempsey, so that should put you on notice too. They should recognize that as well.
You would hope so, yeah.
What do you think about Charlie? What do you think about him just in general? Because obviously the lineage with his dad, hell of a hand.
I think he's a grappler's grappler. He's the kind of guy that like I had never met him. I'd met him at the Bloodsport in at Mania, but very briefly. and I'd never really like gotten to have much of a conversation with him, but I feel like he's one of those guys that I just like. I got to know him via blood, sweat, and tears in the wrestling ring. He's a grappler's grappler. He's a wrestler's wrestler. And, you know, if I was walking down a dark alley and I needed someone to have my back, he's the kind of guy that I'd be like, I want Charlie Dempsey on my side. You know, that's the kind of guy that he's an old school, he's a new school, old school guy. You know what I mean? Like he's a new school throwback kind of wrestler. So I have nothing but good things to say and nothing but respect for the guy.
As we start to wind it down here and head towards the finish, I'm just curious because, you know, people are so big on YouTube. Everybody loves watching YouTube. If they were to type in your name and versus blank, who would you want them to like do the YouTube playlist with if they were looking up your career?
Oh boy. Just nothing where when I'm brand new starting out. If I have hair still, especially if I have blonde hair, X out, go to the next match. You're gonna see some whack ass wrestling if you watch me with blonde hair and tall boy boots. I think my work speaks for itself. Anything that's in the last couple of years, myself versus Brian Keith, I think is a really good match. I think I had a match with Jeff Cobb. That they took it off YouTube. It's only on IWTV. I just had a really good match with Josh Alexander that'll probably be on YouTube in the coming month. It's on Fight Trailer right now. But I'm really proud of that one. But we're asking for current, and I'm really bombing the the answers there. What is on YouTube? Royce Isaacs versus Simon Gotch, I think, is one of my favorite matches I've had. I thought that was a really good. If you like, I'll put it this way: if you like technicians grappling and hard strikes and big throws and suplexes and whatnot, that's the match for you. If you don't like that, then I'm not sure why you're listening to this interview still, because that's definitely the only style that I do and know.
Yeah.
But yeah, YouTube, IWTV, Triller, anything like that. Search your boy Royce Isaacs and watch something of mine from the last year or two, and I think you'll be happy. Or West Coast Wrecking Crew. I do also. I have a YouTube channel, so if you look, you'll probably on YouTube you'll find my channel, and I post matches from time to time on there. So there's some good ones. Like I wrestled Luke Jacobs in the UK, and he's very talented, and I thought that was a really good match too. So there's a few on there.
Yeah, it seems like Epic Pro is gaining some traction out there in Cali.
Oh, excuse me. I'm just getting over a cold from last week. I don't mean to be coughing into the microphone and being gross. Very unprofessional professional wrestler. Yeah, I think Epic Pro, I think they're taking a little bit of a hiatus till the beginning of next year, but they've been their last show was phenomenal. They obviously my match with Josh, I was very, very happy about. They also had Santana versus Tito, Bad Dude Tito, which phenomenal match to put on. Shane Haste versus Jordan Cruz was also on that, and that's a phenomenal match to put on. So, like, I think Epic Pro is doing some really cool stuff, and I can't wait for them to come back next year. But until then, I highly recommend, if you have a Fight Plus subscription on Triller, go check out any of the Epic Pro events from the last year or so. Any of the ones that I'm on, I had a really good one with Jordan Cruz. I had a banger with Tyler Bateman. I had a really, really good match with Starboy Charlie as well. Like, I've had some really good matches at Epic Pro, and I think they have they're building like a cool kind of old school indie throwback. Like, it's in like a gymnasium, and it intentionally it's lit like that, and it's like when you kind of go back to watching that old school indie stuff from like the early thousands, where it's kind of supposed to be grungy. It captures that essence really well, I think, and it captures the essence really well of having these high work rate matches and all that. So I definitely recommend anyone check out Epic Pro if you have that Fight Plus.
What's next for you? What do you got coming up?
DC, baby. I got DC next Friday. grudge match with Filthy Tom and Filthy Fred, those two rapscallions. Not sure what hijinks are in the mix, but it's a grudge match, and I mean, I've literally shaved both of their heads before, so nothing's out of the question. There might be some clippers coming into play. I'm ready to put a nail in that coffin and move on to what Jarrell and I really want, which is those strong tag titles. Tom, you've had a great run. You're a legend in the combat sports. Fred, I wish I could give you the kind of respect that I give Tom, but you guys are both going down.
Love it. Where can everybody find you, follow you, social media, and otherwise?
At Royce Isaacs on Insta, at Royce Isaacs on Twitter, and do not follow me in real life and be a stalker.
Royce, thank you so much for all the time tonight. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. It was awesome. I appreciate everyone out there that listened to the podcast and took their 45 minutes and spent it listening to me ramble about stuff. And I thank you for your time, Poz. I really appreciate you, man.
You got it. Thank you so much.